day going on at Camp Pendleton down in San Diego. And companies were there, CHP was there, IBM, these different companies, and I saw the weather, the beautiful people, and whatever the pay was at the time, I was like, oh my God, I get paid to live here too? So I joined LAPD.
Oh.
So Mom was not happy I wasn't going back home, but I still fulfilled that childhood dream of becoming a police officer.
Okay. Okay.
So part of my dream was fulfilled.
I was going to say, you actually did get there.
That was my lifetime dream. I wanted to become a police officer. I did that, but life took a different course. So
then what happened?
So I started a pretty successful bodyguard business while I was a cop. I was working doing personal protection.
On the side?
On the side, working for someone. And I figured out how to start my own business. One of the derailments was I went through a divorce, a very expensive divorce, because I had some pretty good financial success with the bodyguard business. So that derailed me, but it also opened up other doors. So while I was, and then I left being a police officer because I was doing the bodyguard thing full time.
Okay.
While I'm still a reserve with the sheriffs. So just serendipitously, I met the founder of Quest at the gym. She goes by Quest Creator. Just friendly conversation, and she gave me a Quest bar. They were only about 6 months old, and then that turned a different course because then I started helping them build relationships, which I had no experience or knowledge in. I wasn't a marketing expert, I wasn't a PR expert, but I just got the product in people's hands. I was basically getting the product in people's hands that I was protecting.
Oh, interesting.
So it was a win. Like I got on the set of Extra, celebrity events at Riviera Country Club, Jessica Simpson, all these different people I was protecting. I would get product to them, and it just kind of evolved from that to fast forward. I was an executive there, and we sold 9 years later for $1 billion.
Right.
So that definitely that was definitely a chapter.
That's a chapter you didn't.
Yeah, and that was only
see coming when you were 20 and
that was basically just based on just a relationship in the gym.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you see yourself as a connector of people? Like, what would you say? Like, if someone said to you, "Give me the 2-minute elevator pitch for who you are today."
Yeah, I'd say I'd say my superpower is connecting people, and I connect people with no expectations or anything in return. And a lot of people connect people they make a living at it. Transactional. I connect A and B, and you guys made $1 million, and I get a commission. Yeah. Sometimes I look back and think, gosh, I probably should have done that, but it just never felt right. I just like connecting people. That's my superpower.
Okay.
And I think being a self-proclaimed publicist or marketing person, I didn't go to school for it, but I feel I've hired 4 or 5 PR companies, and I feel like I've probably done better than them. It starts out great.
But it always starts out great,
and then you go from the owner, then you're dealing with the intern.
Yeah, totally. But, so true.
I think PR and marketing is my superpower.
Okay. And do you enjoy it?
Yeah, I enjoy it.
Okay.
Because part of it is really, it's just relationships. So it comes down to relationships, and a lot of people, I don't think it's changed in the last 30 years. Some people are not, you're introvert or an extrovert. And some people work better, they might do PR and marketing at a computer screen, but they're not as good in person. I'm good in person. And I still believe it's worth getting on an airplane to go meet somebody. Even though people, can we just Zoom?
I agree with you. I think in-person relationships, real life relationships are so undervalued these days, especially post-pandemic. When we got really used to doing everything behind a screen, there's a time and a place for it, but I think we've forgotten the importance of this, being literally 3 feet away from someone.
So I feel like connecting people is a superpower, and I do it. And same thing with giving product to people or connect people. I do it just because I like to do it. It feels good for me. I'm going to call it love language. It makes me feel good, and I have no expectation. I always tell people this: if I give you something, I have no expectation. The problem is, too many people give, and they're like, what am I getting in return? I think it comes back tenfold.
Yeah.
I help someone, and it's happened. I've had people come back and say, hey, I have this opportunity for you. You want to look at this? I'm like, whoa, wow, that was great.
Yeah.
Years later, even.
Yeah.
So
that's so. How are you involved now with Quest?
So Quest, it was a great run. We actually sold, it's about 3 years ago now, we sold to a company called Atkins, so we have no involvement. We're all
completely out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great, great kind of,
I was going to say, great way to exit.
Yeah. I still, I have a lot of pride. I mean, I helped build that brand. I was one spoke in the wheel, but I feel I contributed to an extent to build it to be $1 billion brand, right?
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen often. So now I've moved on. We have other brands. The founder of Quest started a company called Legendary Foods, which is healthy pastries. I help some other companies, Blackwater, First Form, an array of companies. I'm an investor in a couple different companies.
So what is your most favorite project you're working on right now?
My favorite project is right now in my world is working on speaking. Me personally, I have a coach, working on a speaking deck, which I've pretty much done. and working on a website now, and to coach people. I think that's my next chapter. Is I think with all these relationships I developed and all these skills that I've acquired, I think it's really valuable to pass it on to other people. And whether it's monetized or not, I don't know, but if I could affect a few people speaking, talking to someone how to build a business or how to build relationships or what it is to be a good PR marketing person, that's my chapter now.
So what's your TED Talk about?
Bringing extraordinary value with no expectations in return.
Extraordinary value with no expectations in return.
And I have stories. I mean, like how I've helped people. I have a FedEx story. I have a kid that I.
Can you share one of your fun stories with us?
I could tell you one of really touching stories that actually didn't affect me till a year ago.
Yeah.
When I was doing the bodyguard business, and I've always been a connector. I realized that even when I was a cop and I was a Marine, I still like to connect people. It's weird, right? Like I was a cop and I would connect kids to youth programs and.
That's amazing, right?
Yeah, you stop people that have problems, and I always looked at that. I was talking to when I was doing an interview yesterday. I always lived within the spirit of the law. My world's never been black and white. Some people are the law's black and white. I was always in the spirit of the law. I just have to stop you for 1 second. I have to tell you that I love that, not just as it relates to law, but in life. I think that so many people are so black and white and want answers and ideas and what they're working on to fit, and kids, to fit into a box, and we just don't operate that way. We don't, and I learned that early on as a cop. Even one of my bosses said, "Hey, you're going to learn that sometimes people are just a paycheck away from a problem." And there's hardcore criminals. They're in one area, but then there's people that just struggle, whatever, drugs, addiction. So I always learned, hey, listen, I've always been a very compassionate person about people with their struggles. So that helped me early on with the relationship building. But your initial question was, we're going back to that.
The story.
So the story, even when I was a bodyguard, and one really struck me. It's actually something I talk about in one of my speeches. I was doing bodyguard work for a very high-level executive that ran a music studio or a label. We were going to a Grammy event, and I had advanced it, and I noticed there was this kid. At the events, there was always the paparazzi, but the harmless ones, the kids with the cameras, they want to meet their favorite star.
Right.
And I used to always negotiate with them, say, listen, we're bringing celebrity A, can you guys just be cool? Matter of fact, I would order pizza for them.
I love
Don't
that.
bombard us. Don't start screaming and yelling and profanities. If she or he could stop, we'll stop and sign autographs. So this kid I saw at a few events over the course of a couple months, and I was doing an advance for this Grammy event by myself. It was 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and he said, "Hey, your name's Bruce, right?" And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Listen, I'm out here." He told me a story. I'm out here from the Midwest. I have this idea for digital downloading, kind of what Napster. Remember Napster, the music back in the day?
Yeah.
Something similar to that.
I'm not that old.
Yeah. So he says, "I know who you're bringing today." And I go, "Oh," he goes, "Well, because I know what you do. I see you, and I know this is his party.
Yeah.
I'd love to just say hi to him." I go, "What would be your purpose?" I have this idea. Left, went back to the hotel, got our client. We didn't come back till like 7 p.m. And as we're getting out of the car, something hit me. I'm all business when I do the bodyguard work. And I said, "Hey, boss, there's this kid you'll see in the green shirt there. He wants to say hello to you. And there's something compelling about him." He goes, "Do you think I should?" And by the way, he was a very people person because he liked to say hi. So he goes, "Okay, let's stop." He stopped. They talked for maybe 40 seconds at most, and he turns to his assistant who was with us. I was kind of standing back.
Yeah.
"Hey, get this kid's information. Let's have him talk to us."
Okay.
We leave, go on the party.
Okay.
15 years later.
Yeah.
I know. That's it. I never saw that kid again. I'm at the Super Bowl at SoFi Stadium.
Yes, last year. Yes.
In the suite with a whole different client, with some NFL owners in my suite, and I'm looking to the right because you ever at the SoFi Stadium, you can see through to the glass.
Yeah.
You have envy of who's ordering what food, and there's celebrity.
It's kind of cool and it kind of sucks at the same time.
There's LeBron, or there's
totally.
I see this guy and I sense he's looking at me, but I'm like, okay, that's weird. All of a sudden, security knocks on the suite door. Who's one of my guys? Says, "Hey, there's this kid out here to see you." I go out in the hallway. And right away, as soon as I saw him, it was that same kid 15 years ago. And he said, "Hey," and he reaches and hugs me. And he said, "Hey, I don't know if you remember me." I go, "Yeah, I do remember you." He goes, "I just want to tell you something. That introduction you made changed my life." And I'm like, okay. And he's got this beautiful woman who's his wife. Turns out he pursued, the assistant called him, but then blew him off for a few months. Like, "Hey, I know you want to come in for a meeting." He was persistent. I did tell him when I met him, I said, if you come across me and be persistent, don't be pushy, just be persistent. And one thing I'm going to tell you, if you have an opportunity in Hollywood, this is 15 years ago, if you have an opportunity in Hollywood, say to these people, "I will work for you for free. Give me a shot, whether it's 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, and at the end of that journey, if you're happy, will you hire me?" So he finally got a meeting, not even with some third level assistant, got in.
Wow.
Met the HR director, and he said the same thing. So he's sitting there thinking, okay, well, shit, kid wants to work for free.
Totally.
Sure.
Intern. Totally. Yeah.
He ended up doing that internship. They hired him. He ended up meeting the woman who he's married to, who was in the legal department there. They have 2 kids.
Wow.
But he started his own digital company. The box he was in, he owned. He had just done a $5 million deal, and he literally said he was crying. He
Oh
said,
my God.
That all stemmed because I was getting ready to go back to Minnesota. I was out of money. My mom said, give it one more day. Try and meet one more person, and that happened that day. So when I always say I never
incredible.
dismiss anybody. I don't care if it's a homeless guy, hey, I need something. I always tell people this, go out of your way to try and help somebody. It's an intern, a kid, a college program, whatever. You never know where it's going to go.
Yeah, you never know who you're helping.
It didn't cost me anything. What did it cost me? 30 seconds to say hi?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So. And it didn't, not only did it not cost you anything, it really enabled this other person to live this incredible life. And you just out of
And I didn't even know till 15 years later. And he's like, yeah, I'm rich. And what can I do for you now? And I said, nothing. We're friends. But and it helped my client, who he brought this value to this program that he created. And yeah.
That's so
that was
cool.
just one of many stories. But I found it's easier just to help somebody.
Yeah.
So.
That is true. Yeah. Easier to help someone than to ignore. Yeah. And I love the non-transactional ideology because I think that especially in Los Angeles, that's so rare. You know, in the entertainment industry, that's so rare. So I have to ask, you're wearing this hat, it says lions, not sheep.
Right. These hats, so my friend Sean Whalen owns this company, started a couple years ago. It became a movement now it's big.
Yeah.
These hats, because I wear a bunch of them, different ones. I wear hats, but this creates more conversation.
Okay.
Because people hear lions or sheep, right?
Yeah, totally.
It's in LA. Sometimes in LA, I'm feel a little awkward sometimes. People are like, "What's that mean?" I'm like, "Oh, you tell me." Like,
what's your take on it?
Yeah. But I've had more conversations, women and men. And 2 women the other day at the airport were like, "I wish we had more lions in this world." Like literally. So it says it for itself, right? I'm not a preacher of anything. I feel I'm an alpha, right? And I think we're running out of those people.
Yeah, that is true.
And
especially in
I think it's okay to be a lion. You know, it's okay to be a sheep too. I mean, listen, nothing wrong with it. I mean, but yeah, I think we need more protectors. And
yes, I think that is true.
I think a lot of my female friends are even like, hey, I wish,
Yeah. Well, it's so funny actually because, and I was talking to Natasha about this also, that I think it was Bill Maher who did on Valentine's Day, he did this awesome, I got to get it and send it so that we have it so that we can pull it up, but did this incredible, like awesome 3-4 minute rant about men and women and what they want. And basically what his entire rant boiled down to, and I thought it was really interesting, was, women say they want to be independent and they want to take care of themselves and men say they want to, they're feminists and they're woke and all these things, but the reality is that like men do actually want to be or need to be more courageous and committed and lion versus sheep, and women actually do really want a protector. And what was so funny about it was he said, this was really what honestly got my attention, was that he said, all you have to do is look at the media and entertainment to realize that is still what women want, because there are so many shows on TV, whether it's Paradise Island or Bachelor or Married at First Sight, or they're literally there's such a massive plethora of that type of television that it's all about traditional dating and relationship stereotypes. And so for all of the people that are walking around saying that they are going against the grain on that, the reality is there's still some very innate needs that men and women have in traditional relationships, and this kind of fighting back against those things has actually changed the dynamic in not really a positive way.
Correct. And I'm all about that, people, independence, freedom, and pave your own way. But I dated a woman recently, very strong, independent businesswoman, but she even said, after hours, I want to know someone's taking care of me.
Totally.
I'm a beast in the boardroom, whatever, but I want someone to...
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. I feel like I feel like I'm always going and constantly managing my life and with my kids and work and everything. But then like after hours, like I want someone to take care of me.
Yeah.
Like I just like, I'm tired of always having to like just take care of me. So I
Right.
want someone who like really wants to like take that on as well. Not like take care of me in the way where I can't do stuff for myself, but like be there, you know, like, yeah. So it's interesting. And I think, and one of the things that Bill Maher said was that like men are not courageous the way they used to be.
Yeah, they're definitely
that they
not.
need to, like men need to be, have more courage. Like, and like go up and talk to women and like want to be in the relationship. So
Yeah.
it was very interesting.
Yeah, and I'm not, like I said, everyone has their path they're going to go on, but I'm not into splitting bills and I mean, I know I have generation young girls that I know that are like, yeah, I'm dating a guy and we split the bill. I'm like, oh, what
Yeah.
world is that? Like,
Yeah. It is somewhat of a generational thing.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong, you're in a relationship and maybe you pick up dinner now and then because you're just kindness of your heart, but it's still like, I think it's still our responsibility, right? What? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, yes, I do. And I appreciate it. And, you know, it's like I'll offer to pay and I will, but like,
He won't hear from you again. That ended that deal.
As my producers know, I call them one and done.
Yeah. He made me buy my own coffee.
No, that I actually always do buy my own
you
coffee.
do?
I do. When I go on these coffee dates, drinks no, but if I go on a coffee date, I intentionally get there and I order my own coffee.
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't want them to feel like they like owe me anything. Yeah, anything in that moment. Now, like, you know, there have been a couple of those where it's turned into like one coffee has turned into we've sat there for, you know, it's been more than just 45 minutes and then like that person would buy me like my egg bites or something, something like that. You know, I'm a really expensive first date.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know. So where do you feel you've had a lot of interesting paths, right? Like you've done a lot of kind of different things.
For sure, all
So where
kinds.
do you feel you've had the most success?
I say two things. The most success I had with when my security bodyguard business was doing thriving well, more money than I ever thought I would make in a lifetime.
Okay.
So it was kind of cool, and my parents were still alive to see that. So it was like kind of cool. I bought my mom a new car.
Oh, that is.
So those are things that
that's fun that
that's such a reward. Like I was able to buy my mom a new car. So that was a level of success, and I still do that, but not at that level. And then I think that the Quest journey to be part of $1 billion brand.
Yeah.
They call it a unicorn, you know, when it sells that. So it doesn't happen often. So.
Yeah. And are you still doing the protecting the security?
Yeah. I just was out in the Super Bowl for a few days with somebody, and
And do you enjoy that?
Yeah, I love it. I'm into logistics and planning, and you know, bodyguard is not what you think about the 300-pound guy at the door.
Yeah.
Mine is about more avoiding people and going in and out of.
Getting like ingress, egress.
Yeah,
all
exactly.
that
Ingress, egress. No one knows where we were. Tunnels at the SoFi Stadium.
I know.
And that's why I like doing that because it's really takes thinking and planning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in this town, at least you can do that. Like a lot of the locations that have, you know, that have venues where you have to get in and out, there's like ways to do it without the public knowing, which I didn't even realize. Like we were at a hotel and they took us on a tour of it was the Fairmont Century Plaza Hotel.
Yeah.
And there's like a whole
underground.
Yes, I had no idea. They showed us like that carport area where it's completely away from the public, and they were like, oh yeah, because they have this massive ballroom where they do these big events, and so they have to have ways to get people in.
It's a great property.
Yeah.
Yeah, they all have that. Yeah, you have to have that.
I had no idea. It's interesting. Like there's this whole underground world of events, you know, and I've never done event planning. That's not my
and I've worked with a lot of event planners, a lot of wedding planners with high-end celebrity events. So.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's all about getting people in and out without being. Yeah, Mindy's been around for years. Yeah, I worked with Mindy early on.
Yeah, I don't even know if she's doing it anymore, but she had a lot of the big names.
She hosted some of my clients' weddings.
Did she?
And there was Along Came Mary. I did Barbara Streisand's wedding back in the day with her.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I love Barbara.
Yeah.
Have you had a favorite client? Can you say? Is that, you don't have to give me a name. Do you have like a repeat client or a favorite client?
I have, you know, what's that saying about sometimes you wish you didn't meet your heroes or whatever, right? So some
totally.
So some I've worked with and I'm like, oh my God, I wish I just never worked because now
it's ruined the
persona.
Yeah.
And then others I've worked with that are like, wow, they are way kinder than I ever thought, like generosity and stuff. So
yeah.
I mean, like, and he doesn't do well with the female crowd, but Charlie Sheen was one of the nicest guys and most generous.
I've heard that.
And that was before he kind of lapsed with the crazy stuff, but he was one of the nicest guys in the world.
Yeah, I've heard that about him.
Yeah. Mariah Carey was always nice with me. You know, now that whether challenged with other labels and stuff, I've always been able to maintain because I do what I do.
But you're also helping them, and they look to you as a protector of wherever they are.
And once again, with the whole ingress, egress, and planning, sometimes people look at me and say, "God, thanks for taking care of all this," because I don't know how this gets done.
Right. Yeah. Well, and I think when you're at a certain level, you do need people to help you. And so if you're in that inner circle where you're genuinely helping people, there's a real gratitude for that because they know how difficult it can be to get in and out.
Yeah, and I try and sift through the clients even when I do security, the people that actually need it as opposed to in LA, there's people that want it. Hey, I'm going to a club and I want you guys with me to look the part. That's not really of interest to me.
Yeah.
I'd rather, there's clients that really need security.
Yeah.
And it's a...
Yeah. So do you know the Kardashians? I'm kidding.
If you,
I'm kidding.
If you, well, it's public because if you looked on the show when Kim married Chris Humphries, the ball player, I was on the show during that week. Because,
you were?
Because I took her to get fitted at Vera Wang for her dress.
Oh my God, that's really funny. So you do know that?
Yeah, I was on the show. Yeah, I'll show you the picture when we get off. So that was that whole week-long series, the wedding series or whatever it's called. I was on the show a couple times.
I actually don't watch it at all. I don't. It's like it's so funny because I asked the question, but I actually don't
America's
follow.
favorite couple.
I know. I'm not.
I know. But yes, I've worked with them over the years.
Okay.
That's
trying
funny.
to think who would be like my ultimate like person that I would want to meet. Have you been able to meet like the people you've wanted to meet? Because that would be a fun like perk of the job.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, you know, icons like my mom, like Sammy Davis Jr. Back in the day. I worked with him a few times.
That's amazing.
That was in People magazine. So those are more things that I think affected my mom.
Yeah, but that's incredible to say
Frank
that you.
Sinatra.
Really?
And Charlton Heston. Charlton Heston was a kick because my parents. Those are
so cool.
generational,
those
right? Everyone knows them.
Yeah.
I was with Moses, right? And
that's awesome. Yeah, that's really awesome. So, okay, so this next chapter of your life where you want to be going out and giving these, like, doing public speaking.
Yeah.
How are you getting into that?
I'm fortunate enough, I think I run in a circle. I ended up bringing, product to these events and got to meet the speakers. So, Dan Fleischman, Ed Milet, Bedros Keuilian, these different people. So I got to know them, and now they're like, well, how come you're not speaking with us? So I've done some panels, discussions, and I still have that fear factor of being in front of a crowd.
Do you?
Yeah, for sure. More than
Just imagine that they're all naked.
Yeah. Right? That's,
Actually, I have another trick, because I do a lot of public speaking.
Yeah, in front of a crowd?
Yeah. So I actually do have a trick. Do you want me to tell you what my trick is?
I need it.
I don't know that this is actually appropriate. It might be total TMI.
You already said they're naked.
So, and actually I even think about this like, someone once was telling me they were meeting Oprah, and I said this to that person, and they were like, that is definitely like the grand equalizer of everyone. Everyone sits down on the toilet and poops.
That's it.
That's it. It's the great equalizer.
Everyone puts their pants on the same way, right?
Right?
Yeah.
So like when you think about that, like when I'm sometimes standing in front of like a few hundred people or 30 people, whatever, I'm just kind of like, yeah, we all poop.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
I mean, I feel good about it because I listen to other people speak, and some are great, some are okay, some maybe shouldn't be speaking. And I think every time I tell people my story, they're like, why aren't you speaking? You have like 7 stories. There's not like one. You can talk about business, relationship building.
Yeah.
So it's making me more and more comfortable the more I do it. Okay. And even interviews and podcasts, it makes you more comfortable.
Yeah, you're in front of people now. Yeah. I mean, it's just, people behind a camera.
Right.
But even this, I think the opportunity just to talk about your story and yourself and your plan and all of that actually really helps.
Right.
And one of the things also that I found is just like be authentic and like really be honest about like you and your experiences, and don't try to get up and like sell yourself as someone who's like the perfect person.
Right, exactly.
Like we're not, no one is, like I get up, I do a lot of like parenting speaking events. And the first thing, like literally out of the gate, I tell people, I'm a parent, I'm in the trenches with you, and my kids don't care what I do. And they yell at me and they get mad at me, and I have bad days where I do the same, and it's like, that also is like a great equalizer, I think too, it's like, cause people, for the most part, I think people want to feel that we can relate to each other.
Exactly. People want to be relatable to what you're doing. And one thing I found, I spoke recently and I got off stage and I told my friend, I forgot to mention that. And they go, the good news is they don't know.
Right.
It's not like they had a script
of what you were supposed to say.
You missed the whole paragraph. So that's what.
Oh, I've totally done that.
And that actually made me feel better because you're actually right. They don't know.
And then you just save it for the next time.
Yeah.
Or when someone reaches out and says, like, what about, like with feedback, you can also always give that information.
Yeah.
That's something that I've found as well.
But I'm pursuing that, and I have the right people that are helping me,
That's great.
Yeah.
So do you want to take it like on the road? You want to go now?
Sure, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Wherever it goes.
Are you going to be building like the Bruce Cardenas brand?
I haven't thought. I have my website. It's Bruce Cardenas. I don't know if it'll be the Tony Robbins, but I'll be a brand. I just don't know what level.
Okay.
I'm not really. It's interesting. I'm not about me. It's more like whatever I can do to help people.
How you can help people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think this is great.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you look at this camera and tell us where we can find you, Bruce, and how we can be in touch. And
obviously easiest is Instagram, Bruce E. Cardenas. That's probably the most go-to for most people. And then my website is brucecardenas.com.
I love it.
Yeah.
Bruce, thank you so much for coming on.
You.
I hope that you'll come back at some point.
I love it. We need to get these dating updates.
I mean, every Tuesday morning we'll be on, and you can check out, if you ever want to come back, just send us a text and let us know, and I'd love to have you. And I want to get updates also on what you're doing as well. And congrats again with Quest and all of it's amazing. Your life path has been incredible. I love it. I love that you've been able to continue to reinvent yourself and do unique and different things that are enjoyable, and you're growing and you're helping other people grow as well.
Thank you very much.
That's awesome. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks. Thank you so much. We'll be right back after this.
The awards music. We're cut.
Exactly.
Now, when does this? Do they edit it or just goes out like?
So here is our Jackery. Unbox it. You want to get it charged up. You use this fantastic charger over here. This is the output over there, and it has an extra cable like this with the ability to charge it in your car. So that is really cool. So we have it all charged up. It has here, you can press on the display. You can see now that it is not drawing any power, it is not bringing in any power, and it is 99% charged, which is cool. So as you want to use all your separate things, you can turn on the little lights, and it will show you, as you can see there, that now you can draw power out of them, or you can turn them off, just like you would at home. If you want to leave something plugged in but not having it draw power, there you can turn it off. So let's have some fun and see what our Jackery can fire up. So in the past, we have used the Jackery to light up our lives with Govee. We have charged our cell phones, and we have done a few other things. But we've even lit up the AeroGarden. How amazing is that we were able to light up the AeroGarden? But today we're going to push the Jackery to the limit, and we are going to take a look at the This Works. What's this? This Works car vacuum. Awesome, very cool. And we could even take a look at Tambi used it. And how amazing is this? Oh my goodness. You can just keep on going and going and going. You can get into every little nook and cranny in your car with all of this. How awesome. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to stick it into our Jackery. Let's do it this way so you guys can see what I'm doing. Turn it on. The little light and the display have gone on because we are about to fire this up. Thank you, Mr. Jackery. There we go. That is cool. So let's see what else we can fire up today. That is just so cool. You see, powerful vacuum, Jackery fired it up. Let's have a look at some of the other things that we can fire up today. Let's see. Here we go. So let's try the Levoit air purifier. I mean, this is a high power drawing item, I think. I would imagine so. It's not something that you would generally plug into this little power port here. Amazing. If this works, you know how incredible this must be. So not only is the Jackery used when you are camping or exploring the world in your RV or your car, the Jackery can also be your backup power source for a disaster. Disaster preparedness. The Jackery is definitely something that you'd want to have in your home. And like, God forbid there is something and the air is not pure and now you're stuck in your home, you've got no power, you can't put your air purifiers on. If there's a huge amount of dust in the air, or if there's a big, like we are in California, there could be a huge earthquake, will bring up a lot of dust, but you obviously want to still keep your lungs protected. Let's see if the Jackery not only will give us power, but will also save lives. So plug it in over here. We'll turn it on. And you can see, let's actually put this up a little bit because you'll be able to see the lights. So let's put that, try and see if you can see that there. This all in the name of, okay, there we go. So the little light is on. We have the, did you see that? Okay, turn it on. Let's turn on the light so you guys can see. There we go. That is it. So we have our Levoit that is powered up. You can see the lights are on over there. And this is thanks to our Jackery. How incredibly powerful is this tiny little box. That is amazing. So these are the cool things that we can do thanks to our Jackery. Oh my goodness. Look at that. This powerful little thing can do all of that.
And hello, and I'm back. I'm by myself now in the studio. It's just me, your host Marissa of Life 2.0 TV. We are live. We are in the final segment of our first show on our new day, Tuesdays from 9 to 10:30. I am very excited to be here with you, where we will be doing the dating project updates. When Natasha comes on, we'll be doing shots and talking about wellness, whether it's spiritual wellness or health and body wellness. I will have guests on. You just saw Bruce Cardenas. We had a really fun conversation about his life journey and where he's going and some dating stuff, hoping he'll come back with some updates. I gave you my updates, and I wanted to share with you, I am very excited. I was out in Calabasas yesterday, and I was at a doctor's appointment, and after my doctor's appointment, I went to Commons, and I saw La La Land is coming to the Valley, and I'm very excited. So La La Land is a cafe. It is on Montana Avenue in Santa Monica. It is what I call and what they call the Kind Cafe. They are all about kindness, sharing kindness, spreading kindness, and it has a real neighborhood feel. I love it, and I love that they're coming to Calabasas. And this is actually so ironic. Well, it's like in my mind it's a joke. I don't know. It may not be a joke, but I think it's funny because I don't think Calabasas even knows how fortunate that they are that the coffee shop is coming to the Commons. They're gonna see, I think they're probably just like, I think a lot of people are looking at it like, what is La La Land? Because Calabasas, while it's this awesome community, it's a very insulated enclave of an area in LA. And I don't know that so many people from Calabasas are getting over into Santa Monica, and so they wouldn't know what a cool and amazing cafe this is. So I'm very excited that we have La La Land coming to the Valley, and we will be there when they open. We will be checking it out. We will be going live from there, just like we went live from La La Land in Santa Monica a couple months ago. That was really fun. It was really fun. We did a whole thing there. Natasha and I hosted Good Day Live there, and then we also did some man on the street stuff in front run of La La Land. It was really fun. So I happen to love Montana Avenue. It's also Santa Monica, Montana Avenue, also a little enclave. And so I'm super excited that La La Land is going to be coming. And then I just wanted to do, we'll do these kind of like updates on my journey as far as the divorce and how that is going. And so we are still in mediation. We are at the point where we are trying to figure out the financial component, and I will be honest and say that it is really challenging. I admittedly and mistakenly was one of those partners, and a lot of times the partner is the woman in this case, where I handed off all of the finances in our marriage to my ex and let him handle everything, for better, for worse. And he did a good job managing it. That's not what I'm talking about, but I didn't know what was going on, and I was okay with that. Money is a trigger for me. It has been since I was young, and with my own parents. It stems from my own childhood, and so I very much let him bear the brunt of dealing with everything for us financially. And so now I'm in a situation where I'm having to learn for the first time and really having to figure out, what I need and what I'm going to need going forward for myself and for my children. And it's a tough position to be in, quite honestly, in my mid-40s, and learning about all this for the first time, and working with a financial planner and accountants and people who are actually like teaching me all about my finances. And so we will have a financial expert come on and do some financial segments, because I think it's really important. And one of the things that I have learned in this chapter is that it is inexcusable to not know what is going on in your own life from a financial perspective. And so I think it's really important, and so much so that I went online and bought books for my daughters that are geared towards teaching teenagers all about finance, and how to invest and how to be smart with your money, and the different ways to invest and different types of investments, etc. And even, it may sound like I'm talking about large buckets of money. I'm not. Even, with my girls, even if they have $50 from babysitting, how do you manage that, right? So this was stuff that I was never taught as a child. And when I went into my marriage at a really young age, I just literally never, I don't know that we even had conversations throughout our marriage. Every once in a while, my ex would fill me in on what was happening with our finances, but it was never to the point where I was really involved in those decisions and those discussions. And the one thing that I will say is that I am doing it differently this time, and we will talk about this, but one of the things that some of the dating coaches that I have talked to have said is that by your third or fourth date, you have to go on what is called a financial date. And so we'll talk about that. We'll talk about what that looks like. But I have had a lovely time with you here today, and we are going to, I thought that's what you were you're telling me that I need to no? Oh, you were opening up the studio. I thought that meant that, okay. So I will be bringing on someone to help with the financials, and that's what I'm dealing with off camera in my personal life right now, and it's really tough. It's not something that I honestly ever thought I would be doing at this stage in my life, but I'm glad I'm looking at it as an opportunity to learn and as a blessing in disguise a little bit, but as an opportunity to grow and to really understand what my finances are and how I can control them. And I think going forward, the message here is that we all, no matter who we are in life, need to have some idea of what our finances, not some idea, we need to have a really good hold on what our finances are, what they look like, and what it means for our future. And that's definitely not something that I have done historically, but it is a change that I'm making. And so you can join me on my journey as I figure out how to walk through this. And it's definitely new. And I think that this is something that a lot of people out there can benefit from, because I know a lot of people, even some men and a lot of women, that are really not aware of what their finances, what their financial picture looks like, right? It's controlled either by a spouse or a financial planner, or maybe you're living paycheck to paycheck. Whatever it is, I think that whatever your finances look like, you need to have a good idea and really know, and not, as I have done, put your head in the sand with regard to it. And I am embarrassed to admit that is the case, but that is the case. I'm being completely honest and transparent. That's what this journey is about. And so we will be working through that, and I will be bringing you on my journey and sharing some of those details. And we're getting closer in mediation to figuring out what the financial pieces will look like, but we're not there yet, so stay tuned. I'll keep you posted, maybe, on some of the details. Not all of them, but some of them. So anyways, so that is coming up, and it was really so fun to be here today with you live on Life 2.0. I had a great time. I love opening the show with Natasha. Bruce, thank you again for being here with me. I will hopefully see you next week from 9 to 10:30 Tuesday morning Pacific Standard Time, streaming all over and on Amazon Live. Whatever you do when you go out today, make sure you live your best Life 2.0. Bye. I'm gonna dance it out.